With New Year's resolutions, many of us will make a vow to eat healthier, and that's a good thing. But what about our beloved pets and their nutrition? Greetings, Naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black here, and I'm on a mission to provide better nutrition for cats and dogs because truthfully, all pet food is dead food, which is why we created Rough Greens and Meow Greens in the first place. We bring their food back to life with live vitamins, minerals, probiotics, enzymes, omega oils, antioxidants, and so much more. All in a tasty formula that your dog and cat will love. You can improve your pet's coat, digestion, energy, and have less vet bills. Let 2025 bring a new year and a new pet. Get a Jumpstart trial bag, normally $20. Get a 100% discount with promo code BESTFRIEND. You discover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com, use promo code BESTFRIEND. Bring your pet's food back to life with Rough Greens. So good, your pet will ask for it by name.
In the end, everything, all the beautiful, elegant things in life, depend ultimately on getting politics right.
March 13th, 1950, Charles Krauthammer was born, and he attended McGill University and then to Oxford.
Humor and generosity of spirit has co-authored my life.
He attended Harvard Medical School to study psychiatry. In 1972, during his first year there, a fateful decision left Krauthammer confined to a wheelchair for the rest of his life.
We're very sweaty, it's very hot, so we go for a swim, we take a few dives, and I hit my head on the bottom of the pool. It just hit at precisely the angle where all the force was transmitted to one spot, and that is the cervical vertebra, which severed the spinal cord.
He went on to residency. Then in 1978, he moved to Washington, D.C.
I thought, once I'm in Washington, isn't that where they do politics? One thing will lead to another.
He soon started writing for the New Republic. And in 1980, he worked as a speechwriter for vice presidential candidate Walter Mondale.
That lasted 6 months. And when we got totally crushed in the general election, I got a call from the New Republic, and they said, "We think you're unemployed now. Would you like to come work for us?" I said yes right away and started. On the day Reagan was sworn in, that's the first day I started at the New Republic as a writer.
If you can read a column by Charles about something, and you can still disagree with him after you're through with it, then you know you must have a pretty good argument.
Krauthammer soon cemented himself as a powerhouse in the world of politics. He even coined the phrase, the Reagan Doctrine.
That what Reagan had done without a grand master plan was to challenge what at the time was called the Brezhnev Doctrine. And that was, whenever we take over a country, it becomes a communist, it's ours. And all of a sudden what Reagan had done is to challenge that and to say, no, you don't get to keep what you got. We're going to challenge your possessions, wherever they are. And I thought, this is a really good idea. And I'm going to give it a name.
So Krauthammer began writing a weekly column for the Washington Post in 1985, and he was awarded the 1987 Pulitzer Prize. The Pulitzer Prize was one of many awards he won for his commentary. The Bradley Prize in 2004, the William F. Buckley Award for Media Excellence in 2013, the People for the American Way's First Amendment Award 1985, Eric Brindle Award for Excellence in Opinion Journalism 2009, and his book, highly recommended, Things That Matter, 3 Decades of Passions, Pastimes, and Politics. It was a New York Times bestseller. He became a mainstay on Fox News as a political commentator, mostly on Bret Baier.
You'll ask me, how do you go from Walter Mondale to Fox News? And the short answer is, I was young once. Yeah. Now, the longer answer is that it actually wasn't, I didn't have an epiphany. I didn't wake up one morning, the clouds parted, a shaft of light came down, and the Lord spaketh unto me. It wasn't quite how that worked out. It's quite simple. In my 20s, I was a Democrat. And incidentally, this is a road that has been trod by many, including, of course, Ronald Reagan, who started out as a New Deal Democrat. And what happened is simple. When I was in my 30s, I began my writing career. The evidence on what the Great Society, the war on poverty, which I had believed in my 20s and my teens, the evidence on what its actual empirical effects were began to come in. And I was a physician. I'm open to empirical evidence. And the evidence was absolutely unmistakable. It not only was money wasted, it not only wasn't helping the people it was meant to help, it actually was undermining the communities and the people it was meant to help. And I began to re-examine the premises of this kind of great society liberalism I believed in. And over time, and with the accumulation of evidence, I thought to achieve the same ends, a humane, a decent society that works well and provides for everyone, a small government conservatism is the far more accurate answer for any society.
As he did in his writing, Krauthammer harbored no qualms about calling out those in power from both political parties.
I think this is the usual sort of arrogant liberal argument that we represent the science and therefore you have to knuckle under to whatever regulations we decide. When you're making these kinds of regulations, whether about medicine or ozone or about traffic safety, for example, it's never the science that dictates. It's a balance that you make between the cost and what you're going to benefit. I think the last 6 months have shown that nothing that Trump has ever said in the past, even in the present, can ever be used against him because for some reason he is immune to the laws of contradiction. He's weaponized Twitter, and he said essentially, you better come aboard. He did it with a smile, he did it with a joke. I think he means it.
I think he meant it. Krauthammer's interests extended beyond politics, and he was an avid baseball fan.
When I started to do your show every night, you know, it ends at 7, the game starts at 7:10. The garage at Fox is 7 minutes if the wind is fair in the 3rd Street Tunnel from the garage at Nat Stadium. So I get there in the bottom of the 1st. I mean, how can I resist?
He was a witty friend and a good friend to many people.
In words that are intrinsically
funny.
You don't have to have them in any context.
Well, the principal one is booger.
Booger is like the number one.
Booger's the number one.
But I've discovered the word trousers.
You think
Trousers,
trousers
because
are funny?
it's so stuck up English twit talk.
Krauthammer was a dedicated family man and a father to his son Daniel.
My next guest, one of the most influential and respected commentators of our time. All right, let's be straight up. Charles Krauthammer is the most influential columnist of our time.
Syndicated columnist Charles Krauthammer.
Syndicated columnist Charles Krauthammer. With that, we're back with our panel. Charles.
So remember Charles Krauthammer, 1950 to 2018. Charles, thanks for all your work.
I have come here to chew bubble gum and kick ass.
With New Year's resolutions, many of us will make a vow to eat healthier, and that's a good thing. But what about our beloved pets and their nutrition? Greetings, naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black here, and I'm on a mission to provide better nutrition for cats and dogs because truthfully, all pet food is dead food, which is why we created Rough Greens and Meow Greens in the first place. We bring their food back to life with live vitamins, minerals, probiotics, enzymes, omega oils, antioxidants, and so much more. All in a tasty formula that your dog and cat will love. You can improve your pet's coat, digestion, energy, and have less vet bills. Let 2025 bring a new year and a new pet. Get a Jumpstart trial bag, normally $20. Get a 100% discount with promo code BESTFRIEND. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com, use promo code BESTFRIEND. Bring your pet's food back to life with Rough Greens. So good, your pet will ask for it by name.
If you're a facilities manager at a university, you know students rely on the cafeteria for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and the occasional late-night snack. So when a dishwasher breaks down and dirty plates pile up, the mess hall can turn messy in the blink of an eye. Enter Grainger. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast delivery, the product you need now is never far away. So you can turn that dishwasher back into a lean, clean washing machine. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Well, we're back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct. We're back to the old school because YouTube has decided it's going to take a dump, and Facebook Live has decided it's going to take a dump, so we are live and direct on SHRmedia.com. Thanks for the tons of people in the chat room tonight, but I want to say one thing. I want to say this. You got to belly up to the bar. We've kept your seat, and it's great to see you back. Kelly is going to be your bartender tonight. She pours with the best of them. The lava lamp is, in fact, lighted, but you can't see it because I don't have the video on. We don't water our drinks, just like we don't water our conversation, politics, religion, crime, culture, economics, race, sex, science, law. We talk about it all here at the saloon. Nothing is sacred. The speech is free, but the booze is not. All we ask is that you flush the toilet, jiggle the handle, and don't forget to tip your waitress tonight. Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show. What we have is, oh, by the way, it's Thursday. It's June 21st, the year of our Lord 2018. Tonight, we're going to be on a rant with Robert BRANDT. He's my host from the East Coast. Whoa, I meant the first thing to rhyme, but I didn't think the other second thing was going to rhyme. In any event, Robert BRANDT is going to be here. And, by the way, today is the summer solstice. It's the longest day of the year. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I hate summer. I'm not a summer guy. I'm a guy who gets cancer. I've had cancer 4 times, and I've beaten cancer 4 times. So I'm still a survivor. I'm still here. But the summer thing, no. So when summer solstice reaches today, for me, it's all downhill. And that means that it's going to get cooler. Actually, in truth, because I broadcast from the left coast, it gets hotter. Then it's going to get a little bit cooler. But the days from now on start to gradually get a little bit shorter and a little bit shorter until it comes to my favorite time of year, fall. Especially on the East Coast, fall is absolutely gorgeous. On the left coast in Fornicalia, because I'm broadcasting, in case anybody is not aware, I'm broadcasting from Sacramento, Fornicalia, where we are less than 2 miles from the locus of evil on the entire left coast. Yay, nay. I suggest possibly the entire United States of America. We're broadcasting less than 2 miles from the capital of California, where at night, on a bad night, you can smell the sulfur and the brimstone of evil from the cauldrons of evil, from leftist evil burbling forth from the capital of the state of California. We got an assload of people in chat. Rebecca says, BZ, I feel for you, man. Thanks to Ted in chat. Thanks to Mary Brockman in chat. Thanks to Mike in chat. Rebecca in chat. Robert BRANDT is in chat. Ken is in chat. Jake Harding is in chat. Awesome. Great to see you. Damn it, Jim. I can't seem to get YouTube or Facebook to go. But I'll tell you what, Robert BRANDT, give me a blast. We're going to see if we can get through on Facebook here because, holy crap, do I have a ton of stuff to discuss. Plus, Robert, we haven't talked in, I would say, it's been almost a year. I had you on the show one time. I think we spoke for about either 45 minutes or an hour. We didn't have a full hour. And as long as the sweat... Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you that, as per normal, the air conditioning is not working real well in the studio. So the little rivulets, rivers of sweat are running down BZ's voluminous back. And I'm not going to tell you where they're pooling because, yes, once seen or heard, some things cannot be unseen or unheard. Just saying. Robert says he's calling. So we're going to start out talking about the IG report because I want to have Robert's input on that. And as a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, let's adjust for volume and we'll ask Robert, are you there, sir?
Sarge is in the house. What's up, BZ?
Outstanding. You poor bastard. And all the people that are listening right now, God, that's so sad. Now, for me, it's only about 8:13, 8:14. Man, on the right coast, you poor guys and gals, shit, you are on, it's like almost 11:15. So I want to tell you, folks, number one, if this is the first time you've listened to the show, yeah, it's a late-night show, and caution, we might say poo-poo nasties while we're here. But anyway, in a late-night show, man, I get most of my listeners from the East Coast, and I feel sorry for them because by the time we'll end up tonight, it's like 1 damn a.m. So that's 10 o'clock for me, but man, on the East Coast, it is a late night show. So, Robert Brandt, how the hell are you?
I'm doing good, man. How are you? It's been a year, hasn't it?
Yeah,
As a matter of fact, I think it was a year yesterday, BZ.
Are you serious? No, I did not look up that particular day because I thought it was roughly about a year. But I thought, okay, well, that's really cool. An actual year. Wow, I didn't time this. Swear to God, I really didn't time this. One thing I want to do is what a difference a year makes. So what I'd like you to do for the people, and I see you got a host of people that came with you, and that's outstanding. Great to see everybody in chat. And however, some major things have changed for you in the course of a year. You've got essentially a new network. It's newly renamed. So what I'd like you to do is let's give it the full zoot boogie right now. Tell folks, if you can, who you are, the Big Sarge Show, and tell us about your new updated network and who can be found on network on that network. People want to know.
Sure. Thanks, BZ, for having me on, number one. And number two, we're No Apolgies Broadcasting right now. I decided, as a matter of fact, it was about 6 or 7 months ago. I think actually it was in January.
With New Year's resolutions, many of us will make a vow to eat healthier, and that's a good thing. But what about our beloved pets and their nutrition? Greetings, naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black here, and I'm on a mission to provide better nutrition for cats and dogs because truthfully, all pet food is dead food, which is why we created Rough Greens and Meow Greens in the first place. We bring their food back to life with live vitamins, minerals, probiotics, enzymes, omega oils, antioxidants, and so much more. All in a tasty formula that your dog and cat will love. You can improve your pet's coat, digestion, energy, and have less vet bills. Let 2025 bring a new year and a new pet. Get a Jumpstart trial bag, normally $20. Get a 100% discount with promo code BESTFRIEND. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com, use promo code BESTFRIEND. Bring your pet's food back to life with Rough Greens. So good, your pet will ask for it by name.
This year, I decided to do my own network because I was affiliated with another network.
Okay.
It didn't work out. And so I said, you know what? I'm tired of bouncing from network to network, so I'm just going to create my own network, look for talent, and go from there. I picked up Bill Pickle, which he goes live 8 a.m. to 10 a.m.
Whoa.
Eastern time.
Nice score.
Yep. I love Bill Pickle. He's a great guy. And I got Zach K, who runs a PTSD/anxiety and depression show.
Okay.
He's usually on Thursday nights, but he's revamping his show, so he'll be back on Thursday nights here pretty soon. I run a Monday night show or a Monday afternoon show, which goes at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's called Downrange with Sarge. And I usually get local and state politicians in my studio. And then we got the Unapologetic Patriot, which is Ted, my right-hand man. He has a show. He goes live Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. And, of course, Saturday, my show, 10 p.m. I'm sorry, he goes 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then we got my shows on Saturday, which is the Big Sarge show. And that goes live 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Times on Saturday. And, yeah, we're growing, man. I mean, we went from, probably 200 people. Now we just hit 5 million last month.
Holy crap. That's hits?
Yeah, our reach has expanded, and we're growing. Every day we're growing.
Holy moly. That's absolutely amazing. That is great news. Now, you are broadcasting out of Philadelphia, or right around, in Pennsylvania, correct?
In Harrisburg, yeah.
Okay. And if I'm not mistaken, there have been a ton of issues in and around Harrisburg itself, have there not? In other words, I find that you're at the center of a lot of various political prairie winds.
Definitely, for sure. I mean, as everybody, or maybe not, they don't know, but for your listening audience over here on the East Coast, Harrisburg, PA is a predominantly leftist city. And we have our issues with trying to get a conservative-type radio network off the ground. And, of course, we have our trolls. They have a fake page set up right now. So I guess when they say you have trolls, you must be doing something right, BZ.
Well, that's true. That means you're not. If you don't, then that means essentially you're not having much of an effect. Hey, I can boast. I get trolls on my email. Luckily, I don't get too many trolls in here. Of course, I'm stupid enough to give people my email. So you're big into conservative politics. Let's back up a little bit. When did you start to become politically aware or involved? Or did you have some kind of an epiphany and one day you said, boom, you know what? I need to get into radio.
I started on Blog Talk Radio about 11 years ago, I think it was. Almost 11 years now. And I did it off of my my little BlackBerry phone that I used to have. If you remember the old BlackBerries when they first came out, they were all the rage.
Yeah.
And I was doing Blog Talk Radio, and that's where I met Mary on Blog Talk Radio, and Holger and all the other folks. And I did a couple of years. I did a show there, The Real Deal with Big Sarge, and it was a big hit. Then I took a break. Then I got cancer. And then I got cancer the second time, and I decided to, which you already know this, and I think most everybody else knows this in here, but for other folks that don't know, when I got cancer my second time, which was recently, about a year ago, I started doing shows again, and this time it was through Facebook Live and YouTube, and it was a different venue than before. To get my mind off the side effects of the chemotherapy.
Right.
And one show led to another. Then I decided, I beat cancer, so let's just create a network and join a network and build my own brand, and the rest is history.
You're very, very effective. And if there's one person that I have to say knows how to work the hell out of social media, it's you. I find that absolutely brilliant in terms of your ability to craft and get through on social media. So while we're mentioning that, can you let some people know where you can be found on social media and any websites that you want people to visit, YouTube, Facebook, anything like that?
Sure. The YouTube name is No Apolgies Broadcasting.
Okay.
You just do a search for No Apolgies Broadcasting. It should pop up. It should be the first one. It better be, because I got the SEO set up that way. You can catch us on Facebook, www.facebook.com/No Apolgies 101. Our website is www.noapologies101.com, and our Twitter is @NOAB, NOAB_101.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Okay. Well, I decided that I was going to call this On the Rant, or On a Rant with Robert Brandt, because of all the things that have been occurring today. And that's why I wanted to start with the tribute to Charles Krauthammer, because once that got through, then I can collect my thoughts, talk to you, and then I wanted to have a discussion tonight. And by the way, you're on for the full 2 hours. If you got to go, just let me know. God, I can't stop rhyming tonight. But in any event, We're on for the full 2 hours, and there's so much stuff I want to talk about. I've got tons of audio cuts. First things first, though, if we can, let's go back, and I want to get your opinion on essentially what people said was going to be a bombshell Inspector General report from the DOJ. And in my opinion, it happened to be a lot less than I thought it was going to be. It happened to be a lot more than I thought it was going to be. And in one way, it was a lot more corrupt than I thought it was going to be. I'll get to that, but I want to hear your thoughts on the IG report first.
Well, we just did a show on that. Ted actually does rants, and he's really good at doing rants. And we do rants, and what I mean by that is, like, he'll go live on our Facebook page or our YouTube page for like 10, 15 minutes, and we'll just rant on a topic. And we were just talking about that not too long ago, and that was actually the day that it came out. Ted and I were going back and forth about it. And he has some different mixed feelings, from what I do, and I think the IG report could have been better. I mean, I don't think it shook enough peaches off the tree, so to speak, and because I'm expecting, bigger things to transpire from these investigations. All right, and like, for example, why the hell isn't Hillary in jail? Why isn't
the easy
Obama
answer
being brought up on charges for certain things that he did, and then so on and so forth. But as far as the IG report is concerned, man, I mean, we could go on forever about that, but God, I mean, there's just so much they could have done better.
I quantify that as more than I thought it was going to be, because it does reveal a lot of the emails that occurred between Strzok and Page. And then I was also disappointed to discover that there were other FBI agents and attorneys whose names were redacted from that particular report. But wait, by the way, one of the reasons you're here tonight is I'm going to tell you what two of those names are. I found out two of those names, so I'm going to reveal them here because these bastards do need to, and I'm sorry, there are some bastardettes too. Their names need to be revealed. But it was less than I thought, because I was hoping that he would go into much greater depth and detail. And it was corrupt, in my opinion, in terms of he Comey'd basically his conclusion. Now, James Comey, I call James Comey, by the way, Jimmy the Leak. Please take that and spread it around. Jimmy the Leak, basically,
Jimmy the Leak.
Yeah, that's my name for that lovely, sterling individual. Since I worked for the FBI, and I still talk to a lot of FBI agents, I cannot tell you how disappointed they are in their current iteration of the FBI, even under Charles Ray. But essentially, what Jimmy the Leak did is set up a bullet point by bullet point reason, a series of reasons for prosecuting and recommending an indictment, or recommending a grand jury for Hillary Rodham Clinton, and then he pulled the rug out of it. And basically, as far as I'm concerned, Michael Horowitz did essentially the same thing. He made bullet point after bullet point after bullet point for an excellent reason for some indictments, and then concluded that, I haven't found any real direct evidence. Well, in attorney speak, or IG speak, what that means is I didn't find the smoking gun directly in the hand of any of these people. Translated means I didn't find a document which had on it, I, Jimmy the Leak Comey, on this particular time and date, recommended that we're going to do everything that we can to obstruct Donald John Trump, the guy with the dead orange cat on his head, and push forward for presidency Hillary Rodham Clinton. That doesn't exist. So his conclusion, in my estimation, is pretty similar, unfortunately, to that of James Comey. That's, in my opinion, what they happen to share.
Well, I'm hoping one thing that happens is the IG report, it ends Mueller's obstruction investigation. I hope that ends that. All right. And I think Grassley said today that he was going to subpoena Comey and Lynch. So hopefully that happens as well. We already know Strzok already, was removed from the FBI last Friday, or actually yesterday, I believe it was. So there are some things happening, but I I don't think that it's enough.
No.
I think there could be more done. And look, let's be honest. They are not going to get the Clintons. The Clintons are going to skate right past this, just like they always do. And it pains me to no ends to see that they will again get away with murder.
I hope everybody is sitting down, but because I have actually heard pundits say this to the ossicles, to the sides of my face, as Hillary, it's enough torture to Hillary Rodham Clinton and William Jefferson Clinton. Just leave them alone. It's torture enough that she didn't become the President of the United States of America. Can you possibly feature what would have occurred to this country on a continuing basis had she been president? We would have discovered absolutely none of this. Zero. The null set. We got about 2 minutes before the bottom of the hour break. After the break, and by the way, folks, we are talking to Robert BRANDT of the Big Sarge Show and No Apologies, the No Apolgies Broadcasting Network. When we come back, I have a rather excellent semi-lengthy cut, which we're going to stop and discuss during the way, of one of my favorite guys who slays verbally slays giants. I always like to listen to cuts involving two folks, Trey Gowdy and Jason Chaffetz. Recently, Trey Gowdy questioned the Inspector General Horowitz himself, and it is beautiful. It's a sight to behold. And on the other hand, we keep asking, and I'm sure you keep asking, everybody in chat, everybody listening live, and everybody's going to be listening in podcast. After all this shit, how is it that we can possibly still be getting essentially nowhere? Well, I also say we have to back up and take the big picture. And the big picture is we wouldn't be anywhere had Hillary Rodham Clinton been sitting in the Oval Office at this time. So, folks, we're going to take a break. We're talking to Robert BRANDT, and we'll be right back. We're going to get into that cut, and I have so much stuff to talk about tonight. OMG. Oh, my God. Don't go away. Thanks for being in chat. Thanks for listening. And you're listening to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show live and direct from the SHR Media studios. Don't go nowhere.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads radio show. Also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com. And maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capital, the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern, only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad.
When dirty politicians, shadow governments, and deceptive Islam blind the world with fake stream media smoke, their only fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through shrmedia.com, highplainstalkradio.com, and the Western Free Radio Network at Spreaker, YouTube, and iTunes for a different perspective weekly on the Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's no surrender ever, because truth is not always pleasant.
Hey guys, it's Sackhead Clint. I'm excited to tell you about a brand new show here on the SHR Media Network.
With New Year's resolutions, many of us will make a vow to eat healthier, and that's a good thing. But what about our beloved pets and their nutrition? Greetings, naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black here, and I'm on a mission to provide better nutrition for cats and dogs because truthfully, all pet food is dead food, which is why we created Rough Greens and Meow Greens in the first place. We bring their food back to life with live vitamins, minerals, probiotics, enzymes, omega oils, antioxidants, and so much more. All in a tasty formula that your dog and cat will love. You can improve your pet's coat, digestion, energy, and have less vet bills. Let 2025 bring a new year and a new pet. Get a Jumpstart trial bag, normally $20. Get a 100% discount with promo code BESTFRIEND. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com, use promo code BESTFRIEND. Bring your pet's food back to life with Rough Greens. So good, your pet will ask for it by name.
I'm teaming up with the one and only all-powerful, the bloviating Zeppelin, sitting here to my left, bringing to you a fresh new show here on the network. It's Against Tyranny, and we'll be picking up where the Sackheads left off. Excited to be with you, sir.
Sackheads Against Tyranny.
We're going to chat. We're going to chat Wednesday nights.
SHAT.
Sackheads Against Tyranny.
Wednesday night, 11 p.m. Oh, it's the same time, right? 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific.
Same SAC time, same SAC channel.
Yeah. SHRmedia.com.
See what I did there?
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
Human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Chittum Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The right guy on SHR Media.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on SHRmedia.com.
Hey, BZ. So the plan's working. You got rid of Sacco. Sean is now stepping away.
I never even saw him.
And I know, and insidious. You know, we talked about this for a good for the last 3 years, and finally coming to fruition.
You know, I'm still in the room, right?
It's almost like he's here still. Did you hear that?
Yeah, it's kind of.
It's amazing. It's kind of
at you.
It's kind of eerie.
Like a poltergeist.
Like a poltergeisty thing.
Yeah, Sackheads Against Tyranny.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct from the SHR Media, the sumptuous and palatial SHR Media studios. We have no HVAC. Let's see, ain't got no cigarettes, ain't got no pool, no pets. But we do have some great radio tonight, where we got Big Sarge on the line from NOAB, No Apolgies Broadcasting. So Big Sarge is going to be with us all night, all 2 hours. Thanks to all you poor bastards that are in chat right now, that are up this late. I want to tell you, you are showing vast amounts of unity and loyalty to Big Sarge. And I got to tell you this, I am vastly impressed. We're going to listen to Trey Gowdy, and then along during the line, God, I love listening to Trey Gowdy, because if there's somebody that can skewer or poleaxe the shit out of someone, it's generally Trey Gowdy. And this cut now has him speaking. This is recently, about a day or two ago. This has Trey Gowdy asking some incredibly salient and pertinent questions to Inspector General Michael Horowitz. This is live in a House Judiciary Committee hearing.
Inspector General, there's a text exchange between FBI lawyer Lisa Page and FBI agent Peter Strzok from August the 8th of 2016. In that text exchange, Lisa Page wrote, "Trump's not ever going to become president," right with a question mark, and then right with a question mark and an exclamation point, in case anybody reading it may have missed the point of her emphasis. Peter Strzok responded,
God, I love that.
No, No, he's not. We'll stop it. Do I have that text exchange right?
You do.
Now, Lisa Page was an FBI lawyer.
Hey, by the way, Robert, if you want to just jump in and interject, just jump in if you want to comment on something, and I'll stop the cut, just to let you know.
All right.
Who worked on the Clinton email investigation?
That's correct.
Did she also work on the Russia investigation?
She did.
How about the Mueller special counsel team?
She did for a period of time.
All right, so we're 3 for 3 on her working on the two most important Bureau investigations in 2016 and beyond.
I love when Trey Gowdy, wait, objection, Your Honor, leading the witness.
Now, is this the same Lisa Page that Andy McCabe used to leak information to a news outlet?
She was his special counsel, and as we indicated in our earlier report, she was the individual through whom he provided that information.
Wasn't there also a text about an insurance policy in case Trump won in a meeting in Andy's office? She was part of that text string, too.
Now, it's been said, and it's out in the open, Andy is Andrew McCabe, and I should care to interject at this point that we have the number 1 and the number 2 people, former people in the FBI, out of the FBI. They work on, because I used to work for the FBI, they work on the 7th floor. In my opinion, every fucking buddy except the secretary should be swept away, cleared out, including Christopher Wray, from the 7th floor of the FBI building. But that bespeaks volumes about the current situation of the FBI itself. They lost the number 1 guy, Jimmy the Leak, and the number 2 guy, Andrew McCabe, is about to be prosecuted for, wait for it, lying to the FBI. That's glorious.
Imagine that.
That's abso-fucking-lutely glorious.
Wasn't she?
Correct. That was on August 15th.
All right, so this August 8 text was not the only time FBI lawyer Lisa Page was able to use the text feature on her phone. This is the same Lisa Page who...
Now, by the way, for those people who say, oh, who cares what Strzok and Page were saying? Who cares what any of these other FBI people were doing? They have the current and present ability to be able to be completely apolitical and unbiased. Number 1, bullshit, wrong. And number 2, while they were doing these, and everyone glosses over this aspect because it's extremely critical to the FBI and it's hammered into your head, they used government, FBI devices to conduct these activities. And that is incredibly salient as well.
Admonished the agent interviewing Hillary Clinton not to go into that interview loaded for bear because Clinton might be the next president. And it's the same Lisa Page who said Trump was loathsome, awful. The man cannot become president.
Well, let's just stop this right here for a moment. This is the same Inspector General who concludes that he finds no evidence of bias. Jesus. Big Sarge, any thoughts on that issue?
Well, we already know the whole leadership of the FBI is corrupt anyhow. So, I mean, when you talk about bias and them targeting folks, I mean, look what they did during the whole Trump campaign. And they acted like it was okay to do that. And I bet you the Clintons sanctioned that and signed off on that as well.
I would be absolutely correct. I would be with you on that. We continue.
Clinton just has to win, and that Trump should go F himself. Now, most of those comments were before the Clinton investigation was over. And we are somehow supposed to believe that she did not prejudge the outcome of that investigation before it was over. She already had Hillary Clinton winning. I don't know how you can win if you're going to wind up getting indicted and or plead guilty or be convicted of a felony. So,
Jesus, I love this guy.
We understand the first half of that text pretty well. She didn't want Trump to win, and she wanted Clinton to win.
Okay, I'm going to stop right here because we've got so many damn stories to cover, and I'm going to come back to this. So, Big Sarge, I'm going to come back to that because it just keeps on giving better. Like Trey Gowdy is the damn gift that keeps on giving. However, here's the point that I wanted to make earlier. Representative Mark Meadows, at the end of the Inspector General hearing, he did some rather amazing things. He dropped a few bombshells of his own at the end of I think it was about 7 hours of testimony from Inspector General Michael Horowitz. So this guy Meadows follows up on a whole bunch of rounds of questions challenging the reason why the Inspector General was forced to hide the names of FBI employees. Well, check this out. Listen to this.
I thank the gentleman from Kentucky, Mr. Horowitz. I want to come back to something we talked about earlier, the disclosure of FBI Attorney 1 and FBI Attorney 2. And you said, I think I'm...
Because remember, in the IG report, they had no names. They were 1, 2, Attorney 1, Agent 1, Agent 2, et cetera.
Correct. They did not want that divulged because they actually worked in counterintelligence. Is that correct?
That's what we were told by the FBI.
Okay, guess what? Fucking lie.
Okay, but you know who the people are.
Correct.
And I would say, based on your report, I know who they are. And what I guess...
Wait for it.
Yes, I'm concerned about is you know that they don't work for the counterintelligence division.
Okay, that's when I go, correct, winner, bingo.
Well, 2 of the agents do.
I'm talking about attorneys.
There's one lawyer who's in here. So there are 5 people total.
Right.
Page Strzok, 2 other agents.
But you had a dialogue between FBI Attorney 1 and 2.
Correct.
And those 2 attorneys, do they not work for Trish Anderson?
Those 2 attorneys.
And right now, IG Horowitz is going, how did he know that? How did he find out about that?
Work in the Office of General Counsel.
Yeah. And so would one of those attorneys be Sally Moyer?
I'm going to defer to what the FBI...
But they don't work in counterintelligence. I mean, if that's the reason the FBI is giving, they're giving you false information. Because
do you see what he's done? He's just skewered the FBI. He had to use Horowitz to be able to do it. He's revealed one name when the name was purposely redacted. The reason, again, that you cannot continue to trust the FBI, although I was working for them at one point, it skewers my heart to think that these fucktards have done this to my agency that I used to work for. I went to Quantico. There was a time when doing something like that meant something. And now you have FBI agents lying to the Inspector General, saying that the reason we're not giving you the names of these people is because they work in counterintelligence. And now Mark Meadows, Representative Mark Meadows, is telling the Inspector General they lied to you.
Because they work for the General Counsel.
Just add, they were talking
Is
about...
the other one Kevin Kleinsmith?
They were talking about the other attorney there that we
Hold on,
have
pause
their
for a
text
second.
messages
Right.
in here.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, we all know that the no bias conclusion that came out from the IG report on the FBI said that it may not be supported anyhow, and then Horowitz just pretty much proved that point here by his last question.
It's just, does this not stagger your brain housing group?
It's crazy.
And continues to, because we've heard what I call the leftists, the Democrats, and the American media maggots standing up and proudly proclaiming from on high that the Trump administration is doing their level best to take down the FBI, the DOJ, the CIA, and basically all the other alphabet agencies, when in fact, day by day, week by week, month by month, we are discovering that these bastards have been lying to us continuously and with glee and abandon.
That they were concerned
Well, let's
about.
not forget, BZ, that they said one thing on that report as well. Remember they said that the FBI Director James Comey directed the Counterintelligence Division to conduct I think they called it a multifaceted effort to protect the election from foreign interference. And they lied about that as well.
Yes, they did. Absolutely. Foreign interference? If Trump left terra firma on the United States and went someplace else, maybe that was foreign.
I'm not here to articulate the FBI's interest. We oversee the FBI.
We're going to get to the bottom of it like Mr. Comer was talking about. And I think the other thing that I would ask you to look into, there is growing evidence that 302s were edited.
Okay, by the way, for those of you unaware, and so you'll know this in the future, and I'm going to reveal something to you that has never heretofore been revealed. The FBI works on what are called 302s. 302s are just basic reports. So now and in the future, when you hear someone refer to an FBI 302, that's just a report. When you get an FBI report, by the way, an FBI report has a cover sheet, and when you look at a physical FBI report, they have holes at the top, and the oldest material is at the bottom. and the newest material is at the top. Now, also, I should tell you that this also exists in the FBI. There are also what are called inserts in every case. Ooh, BZ speaking out of turn. Basically, an insert is what's not stuck in a 302, and it's what's actually occurring in the investigation itself, generally not subpoenable because people don't know about inserts, but it's documentation of the investigation itself.
Changed. And it gets back to what Ms. Handel said in terms of those particular interview sessions and those 302s. It is suggested that they were changed to either prosecute or not prosecute individuals, and that is very troubling, and I yield back, Mr. Chair.
Okay, changing a 302 would be similar to this. I worked as a law enforcement officer for 41 years, federally and for local agencies, and I recently retired in 2016 after 35 years with a local sheriff's department. But I've been everywhere and done everything and seen just about I've been everywhere man by Johnny Cash. However, saying that, if it were proven that I went back to a document once written, it is immured and subject to subpoena and revelation in any kind of an open court forum. But if I go back after having written that, submitted it in any kind of an official fashion, and I go back and redact portions of that report, I would be in terrible trouble. I would be investigated by Internal Affairs, or if I were still working for the FBI, the FBI equivalent of Internal Affairs is OPR, the Office of Professional Responsibility.
Yeah. And if I could just mention, we have been getting those kind of referrals, and as often happens when we issue reports like this, we get other information coming to us, and we are intending to follow up on that. But I just want to reassure you and the committee, I'm here to let you know what we're being told by the FBI is their concerns. Obviously, Director Wray and the leadership of the FBI and ourselves, I'm certainly not looking to step aside, but...
Okay, stop just for a second. As a matter of fact, I think I'm stopping with this cut. What Inspector General Horowitz is saying is GIGO. Garbage in, garbage out. Whatever any of these agencies or individuals tell me, absent other investigations, I'm just going to have to take at face value, and I'm just telling you, by the way, that, this is what the FBI has been telling me. So, Sally Moyer, that was revealed.
Right.
It's just...
Let's not forget, all right, Strzok or whatever the hell his name is. Strazik or whatever the hell. I can never pronounce his name.
It's Strzok.
Wasn't he the lead investigator, or didn't he have a power position in that whole play during this whole criminal investigation?
Well, see,
wasn't he involved, or didn't he lead the email probe that began the criminal investigation by the counterintelligence division in the first place?
That's what Trey Gowdy was saying in the first series of cuts. It's a beautiful thing. How is it that you're able to craft such a perfect assimilation of hate and discontent? How gorgeous would it be to be able to get two people? By the way, Peter Strzok actually did the interview with Hillary Clinton, so he worked on her email investigation. He made the recommendations to James Comey. He crafted the first draft of James Comey, where James Comey was essentially going to exonerate and ended up, in fact, exonerating Hillary Rodham Clinton prior to the investigation having been completed. But then Strzok and Page, working on that end, then get to work on the other end because they get to work for Mueller to investigate the special counsel with Trump, Russia, the hacking of the elections, etc. And then the buttery irony and goodness of this that we have to remember is Rod Rosenstein is in the middle of this. And what do I mean by that, BZ? What I mean is it was Rod Rosenstein that crafted the memo given to President Trump delineating bullet points as to why James Comey should be fired. President Rump, ooh, that's Freudian.
I like that.
President Trump, the guy with the dead orange cat on his head, then takes the documentation, looks at it, and it is from that he decides he's going to fire James Comey. But then it is Rod Rosenstein who appoints special counsel Robert Mueller to look into one of the reasons being, why is it that President Trump fired James Comey? Now, how delicious does that get to be as well? That few people point out.
Let's not only forget that the Assistant Director for Counterintelligence, Randall Coleman, also told the IG that, that he wasn't making Miss Clinton the target of the email probe, and he thought that was really unusual. And not only that, Coleman said that Strzok also he was picked to lead the email probe because he was one of the most experienced and highly regarded counterintelligence investigators within the FBI. And where did that actually lead this whole investigation? Well, we all know where that led.
Well, yeah, precisely. Sally Moyer. Oh, boy. Okay, so those names are out there in the ozone, and I'm doing my level best to make sure that they continue to be out there. Now I'm going to go to a story from Sarah Carter, and I don't know if you folks read or know who Sarah Carter is. If she appears anywhere, it's usually on the Hannity Show, and I highly recommend going to her site every damn day. Sarah A. Carter, S-A-R-A, A. Carter, all one word, sarahacarter.com. And do you remember, Big Sarge, where some of the FBI agents said about 3, 4, 5 months ago, maybe even 6 months ago, you know what, one of the things that we conclude, having interviewed Michael Flynn, General Michael Flynn, is that we don't think he lied. Do you remember that?
Yeah, briefly I do, yeah.
Okay, so she wrote an article, said, hey, what actually happened during the Michael Flynn FBI interview? So she ends up speaking in depth to a former senior FBI official. And some startling revelations are made. Now, like I said, Mark Meadows believes there's evidence to suggest that some of the FBI agents and the interview reports, known as 302s, now you know what those are, were changed. Heinous to think that they were changed to either prosecute or not prosecute certain individuals. So that raises an assload of questions. Among them is, how does that impact the former National Security Advisor, Michael Flynn? So it was Comey who ended up providing conflicting testimony and statements regarding whether or not the FBI agents who conducted the Flynn interview believed he was lying during the questioning. So what happens is Sarah Carter ends up speaking to an FBI official familiar with the case against General Michael Flynn and what the process might have been like. And he says typically what FBI procedures say that 2 agents are supposed to do the interview. The rationale behind that is that you get 2 people, there's redundancy. For example, if one agent is unable to testify, there's another person who then witnessed it. An interview of a subject usually comes along at the very end of an investigation. So she asks, okay, what happens next? The FBI guest says, you can perform interviews of victims in crimes, just not the same. So in the form of a bank robbery, for example, you might have a bunch of 302s from the people who were there, the teller, somebody who saw the getaway car, or associates of the subject. Okay, so when you go into an interview, Sarah Carter asks, what is the process? He says, well, you identify yourself. I'm so-and-so, a special agent with the FBI. You state the day, the time, you state the location where the interview occurs. Once you got that out of the way, you delve into the actual process of the interview itself. An interview can be a wide-ranging thing, and it can go all over the place. You can typically go into an interview with an outline or what you want to talk about, and you go in there full of knowledge of the investigation and of what has transpired so far. And you typically try to get the person to talk about those things without revealing all of that information that you have on your end without showing your cards and tipping your hand. So she says, okay, so what are you looking for? He says, as you're performing the interview, you get the person to talk about what you want them to talk about. Remember, the interview is strictly based on factual observation and statements that are made. Now, this is, again, I should continue to insist that this is regarding Michael Flynn. There's no room for conjecture. There's no room for opining, and there is no room for hypotheses to be put in the 302. It's strictly observation. Now, you can make personal observations about the person's demeanor. If I suspected that somebody was drunk or under the influence of a substance during the interview, I could say something to that effect. And so she says, okay, so what's the other agent doing during this time? And he says, typically one agent will be doing interviewing, the other agent will be taking notes. And that's generally, when I was working a homicide, that's generally what would happen. One person listens so you don't miss anything, and then the other person is tasked with taking the notes and writing down the observations. So he continues by saying both agents would physically sign the initial copy. Now, in the case of Flynn, you know both FBI Special Agent Peter Strzok. Now, that confirms that Peter Strzok was there, and he interviewed. Now, does everybody see, and I'm sure, Big Sarge, you do too, how absolutely ubiquitous Peter Strzok is? He's all over the place in terms of Trump and Flynn and Clinton and Mueller. He has his finger in absolutely everything. Now,
I want to make a couple of points.
Okay.
When you are in a room with 5 experienced prosecutors that have thousands of files on you and everything going back for 10 years, you're going to get caught with something.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
It's just inevitable. It's a textbook to try and pin something on you. And then
you make an excellent point.
Yeah, actually, Ted helped me out with that. Thank you, Ted. But also, my point, what I wanted to make about this, the thing that this whole IG report basically said about our FBI counterintelligence operations is that our counterintelligence operation in the United States is the number one target of every hostile intelligence service on the earth. If anything came out of this IG report, that there should have been the number one thing that came out that should have been on everybody's mind. And I think Trey Gowdy sees it. I think most everybody else that's on that services committee sees it. But I don't think the American people see it. And it's like they're trying to hide this stuff. I think Waller was the one that actually came out and said that. He's an expert with the Center for Security Policy, if I can remember off the top of my head. So I think it's time to reorganize the whole FBI, retire a lot of the upper deadwood, fast-track the aggressive and capable younger field agents who think strategically, because you got to have that strategical thinking, and then put the nation ahead of their careers. These guys got to be the ones that put the nation first. And I think that'll help give the FBI the new leadership the country really desperately needs at this point.
I wouldn't disagree at all. We got 2 more minutes before the top of the hour break. And, folks, we are continuing to listen to Big Sarge of NOAB, No Apolgies Broadcasting, the NOAB network. To continue with this, Strzok and FBI Special Agent Joe Pientka both would digitally sign the 302. Now, this is the former FBI, senior FBI official talking about what would have happened now with regard to Flynn. He says, there's a system, and the FBI agents put in a card that identifies them. There's a specific PIN that is known only to you. You look at the documents, you say everything looks good, and then you click sign and enter your PIN. It's digitally signed for you. So the documents, when they create them, now, I used to be, 302 used to be on a piece of paper. Now everything's digital, of course. Only they could do that. Only those agents could do that. If somebody had their login information, which is highly unlikely, then, of course, they could do that. That's really what a 302 is. It's a capture of facts, a capture of observations. It's not a total report of an investigation. It's not a summary of everything that's happening. It's just what transpired in that snapshot in time when they interviewed a given individual. So Sarah Carter says, so they didn't have to show Mike Flynn the transcripts of his conversation with the Russian ambassador or anything else. And the FBI official replies, no, not at all. There's no obligation to do that sometimes because of the sensitivities of what you collected and how you collected the information. Sometimes you show people some of the evidence. It's basically called the strategic use of evidence. Sometimes you show people information that you've collected, not only to help jog their memory, but maybe to guide them into making the right decision. It's not an obligation, but if you're trying to get them to specifically admit to something that you have, you can do that. So we're going to come back with that. But you make, Big Sarge, the point of points up to now, which is, and I may just cut to the chase right now, which is this. Frequently during FBI investigations and or DOJ investigations, federal investigations, you get to somebody to try to get them to flip to talk about somebody else. If you've ever been involved in a lawsuit, what the various people that have instigated the lawsuit, or in this case the federal government, try to do is wear your ass out emotionally and physically and fiscally. And so let's remember that Flynn pleading guilty is the clarion cry of all the leftists, Democrats, and the American media maggots. And I submit to you, you can be bullied and ass-whipped into pleading guilty because you've run out of funding, you've run out of support, you're physically drained, you're emotionally drained, and by that time you just say something similar to, fuck it, I'm done.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show, also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capitol, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern, only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad.
When dirty politicians, shadow governments, and deceptive Islam blind the world with fake stream media smoke, their only fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through SHRmedia.com, HighPlainsTalkRadio.com, and the Western Free Radio Network at Spreaker, YouTube, and iTunes for a different perspective weekly on the Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on BlogTalkRadio.com. There's no surrender ever, because truth is not always pleasant.
Hey guys, it's Sackhead Clint. I'm excited to tell you about a brand new show here on the SHR Media Network. I'm teaming up with the one and only all-powerful, the bloviating Zeppelin, sitting here to my left, bringing to you a fresh new show here on the network. It's Against Tyranny. And we'll be picking up where the Sackheads left off. Excited to be with you, sir.
Sackheads Against Tyranny.
We're going to chat. We're going to chat Wednesday nights.
SHAT.
Sackheads Against Tyranny.
Wednesday night, 11 p.m. Oh, it's the same time, right? 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific.
Same SAC time, same SAC channel.
Yep. SHRmedia.com.
See what I did there?
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
Human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Chittum Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The right guy on SHR Media.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on shrmedia.com.
Hey, BZ. So the plan's working. You got rid of Sacco. Sean is now stepping away.
I never even saw him.
And I know, and insidious. You know, we talked about this for, for the last 3 years, and finally coming to fruition.
You know I'm still in the room, right?
It's almost like he's here still. Did you hear that?
Yeah, it's kind of.
It's amazing. It's kind of
at you.
It's kind of eerie.
Kind of a poltergeist.
Like a poltergeisty thing.
Yeah, sackheads against tyranny.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Wow, we've entered the second hour already, and we're talking to Big Sarge from NOAB, No Apolgies Broadcasting, the No Apolgies Broadcasting Network. And he was here for the entire first hour. He's here for the entire second hour. And there's an arseload of people in chat. Thanks for everybody being here. Let's see. On the far East Coast, where most of you folks are, it's after the magic witching hour. It's like 000006 hours. Out on the left coast here, it's 9:06, and in Bolivia, it happens to be 17:53 and 1828.725 subsector 2 hours as well. So welcome to Big Sarge. We're going to go back to the former FBI official, and he said, basically, Flynn was interviewed only once and was never under oath. McCabe was interviewed twice and was under oath during both instances. Further, Flynn was never told that he was being formally interviewed. McCabe was advised of the nature of his interviews on both occasions. Third, Flynn was never told what they suspected him and that they suspected him of lying about and given the chance to explain. McCabe, however, was asked through the OPR process on 2 occasions and through a formal document whether he needed to clarify anything or change any information. He did not, which makes his lying intentional and with his full knowledge of his actions. And finally, Flynn has been charged with 18 U.S.C. 1001, making false statements. McCabe has not. Any thoughts about that little abrogation, Sarge?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I didn't really follow the Flynn case too much. I was out of town when that happened, so I don't really have any thoughts on that, so to speak, other than, you know, you got caught, you got caught. You got to pay the piper when you get caught, as far as I'm concerned. But there are a lot of there's a lot of shady stuff. I think, you know, at the end, Flynn's being railroaded. I think, I think Mueller wants him to flip on Trump and, you know, turn the tables on the whole Trump administration, because we all know that the left is trying to get Trump impeached, okay? And let's be honest, McCain doesn't know anything about Trump anyhow. So why they're doing this? Of course, it's a no-brainer. They want to see the Trump administration fail. That is what the left's agenda is. That's what it's always going to be. You can see it when he signed that executive order to protect the families, so to speak, with not separating the families. It wasn't enough for the left. They came at Trump right afterwards, and you need to give us this, you need to give us that. Now Trump's thrown him in jail. Now they got the people in cages, so on and so forth. And I mean, and then back to that, that's the reason why they're not going after McCabe, all right? Because McCabe doesn't know anything on Trump, but Flynn does. Flynn probably has something on Trump, or maybe he doesn't, but they want to try to get something out of Flynn, and they want Flynn to try to flip on Trump. I mean, that's the bottom line.
What Sarah Carter concludes is that pressure from Robert Mueller's office and financial constraints were pretty much the reasons why Flynn decided that he was going to go with a guilty plea. Then, on the other hand, McCabe was all sorts of upset that the agents who conducted Flynn's interview did not believe that they had lied to him. That's the other conclusion that she draws, is that when speaking to the agents, they continue to say they didn't believe that he lied. Yet, under one incident where he sort of misremembered something, shall we say, it was from that they decided that they're going to go ahead and go on with an indictment of General Michael Flynn. Well, let's go back a little bit. I've said that this is the tip of the iceberg. And the tip of the iceberg is this. We're discovering week by week and month by month more information about what really occurred in these various investigations. And what we're discovering is that it all stems, essentially, from Hillary Rodham Clinton. And that's also that there was a bought and paid for dossier, a corrupt dossier that was responsible for getting a FISA warrant through a FISA court. And if I were that FISA court judge, I would be more than multiply pissed that the FBI attempted to run something by me and testified in their affidavit that it was all correct and on the up and up, and we're discovering that it isn't. There's so much more to be said about this. Let's go back to Representative Trey Gowdy, because he continues to talk to Horowitz, who's just listening to Gowdy. I love him skewering people. I really do.
Now for the response. Senior FBI agent Peter Strzok wrote, no, he's not. We'll stop it. Now, I think this is the same Peter Strzok who worked on the Clinton email investigation. Do I have that right?
That's correct.
I love this.
Peter Strzok, who not only worked on the Russia investigation when it began, but was one of the lead investigators at the inception of the Russia probe. Do I have the right Peter Strzok?
That's my understanding.
Now, is it the same Peter Strzok who was put on the Mueller special counsel team?
Yes.
All right. Same Peter Strzok. And this is not the only time he managed to find the text feature on his phone either. This is the same Peter Strzok who said Trump is an idiot. Hillary should win 100 million to 0.
Pause right there, BZ.
Now, Mr. Inspector General, that one is in.
They've already made up their minds going into this at this point, and I think Trey Gowdy knows that. They've already made up their minds. You know, they're not going to charge someone. And then they change that in midstream and say that they're not going to go in loaded for bear, so to speak. And there's not a single damn question that they put forth in that IG report on intent. And how can you sit there and tell us that it's not hard for those of us and for like folks like Trey Gowdy and Horowitz and all them who are involved in those committees to conclude that they've already made up their mind on intent before they even bothered talking to a single person about it to get intent of evidence in the first place, which, of course, would lead back to who? Hillary Clinton.
Right, and further would also lead directly up to Barack Hussein Obama.
Exactly,
and
we all know you were talking about the FISA memo. That is in turn Obama's Watergate.
Oh, hell yeah! Well, we all know one of the reasons that I think that he insisted Hillary Clinton not be indicted is the fact that he's in there communicating with her about the Clinton Foundation and also about the presidential run itself and any number of other things. Here's an article from Gateway Pundit where it says a former White House spokesman says that Obama, he links it directly to the foot of Obama. Obama knew about Spygate. No FBI director, meaning James Comey, would put spies inside of a campaign without the president's direct observation. Obama knew, and the fish rots from the head down. Obama had to know. Do you think he's even remotely stupid enough?
Right. And it goes back to the mid-year investigation as well. Surely the FBI's counterintelligence division, tell me they didn't have talented agents who were not involved with that investigation who could have fully staffed the Russia investigation and didn't have to be on both. Tell me that wasn't a setup,
What, like I say, how much better does it get for those people where they get to have both sides of their cake and eat it too? How glorious is that? So the guy that said that is, he's the former press secretary to George Bush. His name is Ari Fleischer. And he said, Ari Fleischer insists that Obama didn't just kind of hear about it. Obama authorized it. So he said that President Trump was asked if President Obama knew about the spies inside his campaign, and Trump said that it was likely he did. Ari Fleischer explains that no FBI director would ever put informants, spies, let's call it like it is. These people are spies, not just CIs or confidential informants. They're spies inside that presidential campaign. And that would not happen, especially under Obama, who had to know about everything without the president authorizing it. Absolutely.
And let's not forget about the text messages from Stark.
No.
We'll stop Trump from being elected.
Here's
if that doesn't speak volumes to the public and to the leadership of the FBI and all the other alphabet agencies, I don't know what does. And not only that, look at the letter in 2016 that Comey sent to Congress reopening the Clinton email probe. Okay, and he goes and he was telling Agent 1 and Agent 5, and he said in that text message as well, not sure if Trump or the fifth floor is worse. So that's two senior agents in the FBI who texted other folks that were involved in the Clinton investigation, the email probe, talking about our future president of the United States. So don't tell me they weren't against him from the beginning.
Well, it's very clear. And McCabe also has links to the Democrat Party, his wife running for either a representative seat, a congressional seat, or a Senate seat. I'm not sure which. But they're all essentially Democrats. But let me back up even a little bit further. I knew that Comey was a lying sack of shite back in 2016 when in June he laid out all of his bullet points for the recommendation of an indictment to the DOJ, and I knew he was corrupt as the year is long when he did two very specific things. After that, after laying down this massive buttressed line by line of information indicating that she should be indicted and that she should go to a grand jury, he concludes that he doesn't recommend this and that it's not going to happen because she did nothing of these with intent. And with that, I blew my top because I'm not stupid. And I knew immediately that there are two types of intent. There's general intent and specific intent. And maybe I'm getting a little bit too deep in the weeds and inside baseball with regard to this, but this is what outed Jimmy the Leak to me. When he said that she did not generate specific intent to do X, Y, and Z and all of the other things that he delineated, I knew he was a lying sack of shite because when you look at the various USC codes that are applicable to her, you can tell a crime of specific intent is just this, and this is how it's phrased. You do this, this, and this, and this, and then it says, with the intent to blah, 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 blah. If you look at those applicable USC codes, they are not crimes of specific intent. They are crimes of general intent. So I knew Jimmy the Leak was lying to us from that point on, and everything that came out of his mouth was going to be subject to, he's just lying to me. I knew that from the very get-go, directly after that point. Then, when he gets up, all 6'8" of him, and in a press conference says that he's going to do the job of the DOJ, that would be like me as an investigator in some county here in California, coming up and conducting a press conference about a particular crime that I was investigating, let's say robbery or a homicide, and I'm saying, I've come up with the conclusion that I've got this information indicating that, I think a crime was committed, but I'm not sure if this guy's intent. So you know what? I'm not even going to ship this over to the district attorney for the district attorney's opinion as to whether or not they're going to file. So Jimmy the Leak, essentially usurped the power of the DOJ and didn't let the DOJ under Loretta Lynch even do their own damn job. And Loretta Lynch was subsequently happy to let James Comey take that one on the chin, and that was a political hot potato that she wanted absolutely nothing to do. She was happy that James Comey was doing her job.
And let's not forget, all of this seriously calls into question the impartiality of the whole disciplinary process, which now appears tainted by what? Political influence. Instead of publicly calling for long-term serving FBI agents to, kind of be similarly fired, politicians should, allow the disciplinary process to play out free from political pressure. And this is what it has created. It has created an atmosphere of politics involved into our Department of Justice system, involved into our counterintelligence operations, involved in all the privileged communications that they shouldn't be involved in the first place. And it all comes down to who? Again, I keep saying it over and over again. Everybody that seems to be in these leadership positions in the FBI has something to do with Clinton.
And they're hiding. They're hiding information. I have never seen a period in the FBI when they're not even lying well. They're lying badly, nakedly, baldly. A 5-year-old can see through this stuff. How they think
it's drawing on the experience of public corruption when the agents were conducting counterintelligence investigation. It's corruption to the 1,000th power.
It's frankly mind-boggling. It's staggeringly mind-boggling. But I want to go back. Now, we've got about 9 more minutes before the bottom of the hour.
Well, you're killing me, Beezy, bouncing around. I'm barely hanging on. I'm messing with you, man.
I know, but this is where my brain goes. It goes everywhere. It's bouncing around like crazy. One of the other big issues, and the reason I'm going here is because I've got some kick-ass audio cuts to play for you and everybody that I'm going to want you to weigh in on. The current dealio right now, the big thing this week that's obfuscating everything else for obvious political reasons is the thing about children and asylum children. That's the big thing right now. So it occurred today that a rather conservative bill about this that would address it happened to be shot down 231 to 1 something. I can't remember what the exact numbers were. But that's the Democrats and also the Republicans deciding that, we're not really ready to solve this yet. But did you hear about the Dianne Feinstein bill with regard to immigration? And that would basically prevent almost every federal arrest. And that's the point. Every single Senate Democrat has backed a bill by Senator Dianne Feinstein from my lovely state of Fornicalia that would effectively prevent authorities from arresting illegal aliens within 100 miles of the U.S. border. If that isn't the definition of...
Families Together Act, is that what she called it, BZ? Keep Families Together Act, I think it was called?
Yeah, exactly. Keep Families Together Act would essentially prevent arrest within 100 miles of the border, even if the person has committed a serious crime or is suspected of terrorist activities. Finally, the Democrats have come out, and you can see at least a little bit of what they are. If that isn't bold, I don't know what is. Well, here's the lovely Di-Fi talking about
It's dreadful.
that.
Let me ask you this. There are 49 co-sponsors now, the entirety of the Democratic caucus, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. That's right.
No Republicans on it so far. What are they saying when you approach them?
Well, they're looking at it. We have 3 or 4 who are taking a good look at it. And
you know who would look at it? John McCain would look at it.
They would. I'm open to changes. It's pretty benign. It's very simple.
Right, not making arrests within 100 miles of the border. That's benign. Don't you think, Big Sarge? That's benign. What the hell?
Of course it is.
Jesus. That's just... It goes, the insanity is replete. The bulbosity is unrestrained.
It just prohibits the taking of a child except for certain specific circumstances, which are laid out in the legislation.
Sure.
What she's doing here, it's basically creating incentives for illegal aliens across the border with children to evade arrest by authorities. That's exactly what she's doing.
Certainly. Exactly. That's precisely the point of that one. Let me see if I can go to. Okay, yeah, here we go. This is again glorious. Everybody's going to love the hell out of this because this is Di-Fi a few years back when she's talking again about the U.S.-Mexico border visit that she took to San Ysidro, California, and this is what she was saying just a few years ago. And by the way, Elizabeth Warren just happens to be in the background as Di-Fi is making this statement.
When you come to these two borders, you have to remember a couple of things. In Mexico, there is no welfare, there is no AFDC, there is no SSI, there is no Medicaid, there is no Social Security, there is no Medicare, and there's a 58-cent an hour minimum wage. Mexico does nothing to enforce its border. It is my view that if we are going to have a North American free trade agreement, that Mexico must do its
This is glorious.
share.
Mexico must do its share.
Because the day when America could be the welfare system for Mexico is gone. We simply can't afford it. And I think you've seen the figures.
The only thing this bill is just a symbolic bill. What she fails to understand, because she's such a freaking idiot, is that 200 million people live within, give or take a million or two, I guess, live within 100 miles of the border. Another good point: all major U.S. metropolitan areas fall within either, I think, 100 miles of the border, or they're either near a port of entry or both.
And that's true also, by the way, of the East Coast and the left coast.
Right.
So she continues.
To state and local governments of what the cost is. It's over $2 billion in California alone. And
see, back then she was actually worried about money.
I have those figures, if you want them in specific, in my purse. And that's why the issue is now joined with 2 million illegal immigrants. It's a competition for space. Whether the space is a job, the space is a home, a place in a classroom, it becomes a competition for space.
And Elizabeth Warren, I love this, Elizabeth Warren is in the background looking at her in support of her and not saying anything in disagreement, not shaking her head, nothing like that.
I'm surprised Chuck Schumer wasn't back there doing the same thing.
Yeah, no kidding.
And another thing on this, BZ, is how soon we forget how much is spent a year on illegal immigrants. $180 billion.
In California, I can tell you that probably close to the last time I chatted with my LASO dude, he was saying that essentially the LA County Jail, the male branch of it, the big one, which is downtown, is packed with roughly on any given day 55 to 60% illegals in the county jail. This is, by the way, this is a lovely aside that you'll really enjoy. We got about 2 more minutes before the bottom of the hour break. This is how screwed up California is. This is how screwed up LASO is. This is how screwed up the Los Angeles system is. There was a consent decree levied upon the jail in Los Angeles that they could only have a certain percentile of inmates in that jail at any one given time. So do you know how they got around that? Because that doesn't mean that people are not going to make arrests in Los Angeles County. So do you know what they did to answer that? There are now 24/7 buses driving around marked County of Los Angeles, filled with inmates, and all they do is driving them around so that they don't put them into the jail itself.
Another thing I want to talk before you go on break here. California spends $24 billion alone on illegal immigration, and then those that get incarcerated because of it, it's $70,000 per inmate.
Bingo. Jesus. Okay. Folks, we're talking to Big Sarge of NOAB, No Apolgies Broadcasting, the NOAB network. We're going to take a break, final break for the final segment. Thanks for sticking in. Thanks for listening live. Thanks ever so kindly for being in chat. And thanks for listening later in podcast. Don't go nowhere.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Sackheads Radio Show, also one of the owners here at the SHR Media Network. Are you opinionated? Have you ever wanted to do your own show? Have you ever heard somebody like the Sackheads and go, yeah, I could probably do that better? Well, now's your chance. Send me a 5-minute clip at sackheadsradio@gmail.com, and maybe you can be part of the SHR broadcasting team. sackheadsradio@gmail.com.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capitol, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern, only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad.
When dirty politicians, shadow governments, and deceptive Islam blind the world with fake stream media smoke, their only fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through SHRmedia.com, HighPlainsTalkRadio.com, and the Western Free Radio Network at Spreaker, YouTube, and iTunes for a different perspective weekly on the Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on BlogTalkRadio.com. There's no surrender ever, because truth is not always pleasant.
Hey guys, it's Sackhead Clint. I'm excited to tell you about a brand new show here on the SHR Media Network. I'm teaming up with the one and only all-powerful, the bloviating Zeppelin, sitting here to my left, bringing to you a fresh new show here on the network. It's Against Tyranny, and we'll be picking up where the Sackheads left off. Excited to be with you, sir.
Sackheads Against Tyranny.
We're going to chat. We're going to chat Wednesday nights.
SHAT.
Sackheads Against Tyranny.
Wednesday nights, 11 p.m. Oh, it's the same time, right? 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific.
Same SAC time, same SAC channel.
Yep. SHRmedia.com.
See what I did there?
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
Human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, and conservative by choice. Reverend Ralph J. Chittum Sr. is the right guy on SHR Media from 8:05 to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday. And if on the rare occasion I am ever wrong, I will still always be right. The right guy on SHR Media.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on SHRmedia.com.
Hey, BZ. So the plan's working. You got rid of Sacco. Sean is now stepping away.
I never even saw him.
And I know, and insidious. You know, we talked about this for for the last 3 years, and finally coming to fruition.
You know I'm still in the room, right?
It's almost like he's here still. Did you hear that?
Yeah, it's kind of.
It's amazing. It's kind of
at you.
It's kind of eerie.
Kind of a poltergeist.
Like a poltergeisty thing.
Yeah, Sackheads Against Tyranny.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is the final segment, the final 25. Here in the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct from the the palatial and sumptuous SHR Media Studios, less than 2 miles away from the Bill Mill, the locus of evil on the left coast. And we've been talking all evening to Big Sarge from NOAB, No Apolgies Broadcasting, the No Apolgies Broadcasting Network. I have for your listening pleasure, everyone, a cut that you're just gonna love. And of all places, it came from CNN. I found this today. I don't know if you guys do or not. Do you ever find yourself listening to CNN, Big Sarge?
Not a chance in hell.
I subscribe to The Economist from Britain, from the UK, because I need to know how leftists are thinking in the UK, and I watch CNN and just to get my beak wet to find out how it is that CNN and various leftists are thinking, because CNN is completely representative of how leftists think these days. Of course, that's also responsible directly for the fact that CNN ratings are in the damn tank. However, this was glorious today. This was, in fact, bulbosity unrestrained. This is a cut, and I can't remember whose show it was on, but it's Senator Tammy Baldwin. She's a Democrat, and she's asked a particular question about Trump having signed the executive order stopping his family separation practice. And here is, I'm going to give you a little bit of a hint up front. Here is CNN, a talking head from CNN, actually, damn, if I had a producer, I'd do this. Let's see. Okay, let's see if I do have a producer. Here's someone actually asking a salient question on CNN, and it's beautiful because she, the leftist, can't answer the question.
Time of year. But here's a question for Democrats, because you hear the president now, a lot on a lot of topics, and this one included, looking back to previous administrations, they should have done more, right? And so as so many people in this country are certainly outraged by the cages and the thermal blankets and the facilities housing these kids, they were all there in 2014 under President Obama. And my question to you,
do you see the setup?
Senator Baldwin, is did you speak up against them then?
On this issue that we get into a moment where we're making progress, and then when it stalls, we turn around. I think we all need to continue.
This Bilbus Bint can't answer the question.
Be focused on it and press it through. The American people need confidence that we can solve problems. Nobody believes that we have an immigration system that works. It is broken, it needs fixing, but we've just got to resolve to do that.
But were you worried about it then? Did you raise your voice under the...
Wait a minute. Are we hearing what I think we're hearing? We're hearing an actual fucking follow-up question from someone from CNN. Oh my God, this never happens. A follow-up question?
Obama administration.
In numbers of cases, usually I remember a constituent who was in detention at the border, arguably very inappropriately, and we raised our voice in that instance and many others. But that's we've got to do this now in unison. It's not enough to do it case by case, or senator or House member by House member. We've got to resolve to fix this.
Weasel words,
we got
more
to do
weasel
this
words.
because the last 8 years we couldn't do it because we couldn't do it, so we got to do it this year, and this next year, and this next year. Typical Democrat bullshit.
Yeah, because we didn't want to do it because the two things that Obama was doing all up to this time, as I pointed out on Sackheads Against Tyranny last night, is Obama's philosophy was this twofold: leading from behind, which is how fucking stupid a statement is that?
No pun intended.
And strategic patience. Strategic patience. Wow, that's something that'll go down in the anus of history, so to speak.
And I want to know, I'm with Kaiser. Kaiser says, how is an illegal a constituent of hers anyhow? That's a good point.
Yeah, that's very true. But here's another thing that you did not see covered because of all this the asylum-seeking children, etc. Poor children. I'll get to that in just a moment. But there was one massive story that went uncovered by the leftists, the Democrats, and the American media maggots because, again, it did not meet the meme. It did not fit the structure of a story that needs to be just blathered about from the top of the mountains, and that's it. And as soon as I tell you, you're going to go, oh, yeah, that's right. Do you remember this past weekend, I think it was the 18th, there was a gang fist fight that ended up escalating into literally what was a mass shooting at a New Jersey arts festival. It started out a fist fight between, guess what, neighborhood gang members. And let's stop and back up a little. I know. Would they have happened to be black? Well, maybe. Well, it escalated this past Sunday, into a mass shooting where 22 people, including a 13-year-old boy, were injured. So, did we hear anything about that? Now, you wouldn't hear anything about that customarily because it doesn't fit the meme that the American maggots want, which is that
doesn't fit the leftist narrative.
No, it doesn't fit the narrative because, hey, we don't give a crap about blacks. Look what happens in Chicago. Oh, wait.
Exactly.
Wait. Let's back up just a second. I don't know if I should go here immediately. Well, first, let me back up. Let me back up a little bit.
Go there.
Eventually I will. First, though, Big Sarge, what are your thoughts about the whole asylum issue, the illegal immigrant issue, the 100-mile issue, the way the Republicans are handling it, and the way the Democrats are handling it?
My opinion on it?
Yes, sir.
They're pandering for votes. That's all they're doing. They know if they can keep the illegals in country, they know if they can get the illegals to go ahead and cross a border without any repercussions, that because we already know a lot of the voter ID laws out there are pretty much non-existent. So this is their new voting pool. That's all they're thinking, because they know that the Democratic Party right now is in shambles. Excuse me. The whole party is imploding from within. And the thing about it is, now they see not only are the millennials that are coming up, or the ones below them that are the 18-year-olds that are getting ready to graduate from high school, or now their new voting pool. Not only do they have them up and coming, now they have these illegals, that they're going to bring into the country and welcome with open arms, so on and so forth. The bottom line is all they are doing is pandering for votes.
I completely concur. So let's be honest. Democrats, leftists, American media maggots, they don't want anything except open borders, period. Nothing less is going to do. And so the Trump administration, it turns out, isn't changing the rules that pertain to separating an adult from the child. Those rules remain the same. Separation happens only if, the federal officials think that the child is falsely, and this is what the American media maggots aren't saying. It only happens, separation that is, only happens if the adult that's with the child is falsely claiming to be the parent, or is a threat to the child, or there's some kind of criminal proceeding going on here. The past practice also under Obama, as we know, had been to give a free pass to an adult who's part of, the basic family unit. The Trump policy, instigated by Sessions, was to prosecute all adults. That idea, and it's perfectly legitimate, is to send that signal that we are serious about our laws, and it's to create a deterrence against reentry. That's the whole point of that. So deterrence
Well,
is...
it's typical Democrat doctrine. Just like Rebecca said in chat, she goes, promise them everything and give them nothing. It's the Democratic way.
She is right, and thank her for saying that, because I can't be in chat. There's too many things going on right now, but I'm listening to what's going on. But she's leading to the proper point. Actually, now we're discovering that some families are having second thoughts because of all this publicity, and they should. See, that's the point. I happen to know my U.S. codes. So 8 U.S.C. 1325 is involved here. That the United States Code section delineates crimes against the United States. So when anyone, an attorney or otherwise, tells you that illegal immigration is not a crime, it is a crime delineated under 8 U.S.C. 1325. The first violation of that, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, is actually a misdemeanor. Now, if you enter again illegally, that kicks things up to a felony, a crime. Congress, this is the thing that pisses me off. Congress built and authorized those statutes. So What's happening now is since 2016, there's been a 900% increase in the bulk of illegals coming north from Mexico and points beyond with children seeking, air quotes, asylum. And like I said, many of these people are provided actual placards, cards, from which they read so that they can spout off the right buzz phrases and the buzzwords when they go up to the border or they get caught. Okay, so in 2016, even back then under Obama, all of these people, as you, Big Sarge, so well point out, it makes them eligible for Social Security benefits, school loans,
right,
welfare, green cards, and all sorts of other taxpayer-funded goodies from you and me, the American taxpayer. There are parasites and there are hosts. We are the hosts for the parasites. So asylum, everybody's...
One thing we're missing in our classrooms today, BZ, we are missing, and I believe this truly 100% with in all my heart, that if we would bring back civic classes in our high schools, that our children would be graduating with at least some type of perception on exactly what is happening in our government.
How many adults do you think cannot name the three branches of government? Actually, there's four branches of government, the deep state, except it's not formally announced. How many people know the difference between, say, a police department and a sheriff's department? Just the basics, the basics of life. Okay, but these
I asked a person that too the other day. I said, name the three branches of government. It was, as a matter of fact, it was a liberal that I was debating, and she could not tell me the three branches of government. She said the Senate, the House, and I go, no, you name the legislative branch. And then she goes, well, no, the Supreme Court. And I said, no, that's the judicial branch.
That's the judicial, yeah.
And she goes, what about the president and his cabinet members? And I go, no, that's the executive branch. I said, lesson learned for you today. How about that?
But again, we know how stupid most of the Gen Zs are and the millennials. So what's happening, though, is that asylum seekers are finally realizing that this is, the golden opportunity. This is the gold standard, because they're realizing, you know what, to get through, especially now this past week, all you got to do is bring kids. The thing is that this is, in fact, when people, and here's another clue, when people tell you it's not about the law with regard to illegals, you know that they're lying, because they don't want to talk about it. There is such a thing called that Flores settlement. It comes from a court case, Flores versus Reno in 1997. And what that meant is that this is not a nice to, this is a you got to place detained minors in the least restrictive setting appropriate. And you got to give them food and water and toilets and all that kind of stuff. And that the government also was under this constricture to, you got to release immigrant children without unnecessary delay. And then what happened in 2016, the Ninth Circuit doubles down on that. And they say the Flores settlement, it without a doubt, it unambiguously applies both to minors accompanied and unaccompanied by their parents. What it also did is it overturned this federal court's, I can't think of which one it was, decision that the government also has to release the parents. But this is...
It was a Central District of California, wasn't it?
Yeah, the ninth is in the it's the most overturned court in the history of history. But under Flores, the government, and this is the beautiful portion, this is exactly what leftists want. The government then has three choices, only three. You release families altogether. You pass a law that's going to allow for family detention or breaking up the families, and the Trump administration has so far chosen that third option, and now they want to go back to catch and release, detain no one, arrest no one within 100 miles. See, but here's, and it's a good thing we're getting to this point, because after I'm going to make a point here, then I want you to see if you can make some summary as well. What's happening is that in my opinion, Democrats, leftists, and the American media maggots, they are declaring essentially now finally that they're for open borders. That's the only thing that's going to be acceptable now, period. But you have to ask yourself, why? And I submit it's because that once locked in voting base of black Americans is coming apart, and it's starting to fray. Okay, Kanye West, other blacks, celebrities or otherwise, they're finally starting to realize that Democrats are, in fact, no friends to blacks. They've been used as a voting bloc only. So if you're the Democrats, what do? Well, you've got to create, buttress, support, and promote another voting bloc. Illegals with children. Democrats, they don't care one crap if the adults accompanying the children, they literally don't care if they're sex traffickers, if they're slave traders, if they're pedophiles, or others using children as shields to enter the United States. The Democrats just care about one thing: increase the volume, increase the flow. Make sure that spigot can never be turned off so that their voting bloc increases to the point where, like California, where I am right now, like California, they create their own supermajority and they hold power, control, and money in perpetuity. That's the entire point. Aided and abetted, by the way, because I need to mention this, by emo and Galp Republicans. I call Galps. You may wonder what a Galp is. That's a guilty, overeducated white person. Galp Republicans and those who fail to look down the road like 2, 3, 5, 25 step ahead. And it's all predicated upon emotions. It's not a time for emotions. It's a time for realizing what's actually occurring right in front of our faces. Because here's the deal also that I'm going to go into next week. There is a massive powder keg just waiting to explode in our faces in Central and South America with leftist governments. They're disintegrating governments and despots. It's wall-to-wall despots. Mexico itself, by the way, is going to have an election in either 1 week or 2 weeks. And they're about to go hard left when this dude called AMLO, let's see if I can remember, Andre Manuel Obrador Lopez, and Andre Manuel Lopez Obrador, who, by the way, happens to be great friends with that avowed British socialist dude named Jeremy Corbyn. And so AMLO is on the cusp of taking Mexico, sitting to our south, hard left. So, that is exactly why we need to build walls, vet people. That's a powder keg on our southern border. Ask Colombia, by the way, just what it thinks of Venezuela today. So any thoughts in your neck of the woods?
Of course. First off, we know that the whole Flores settlement didn't cover the situation of accompanied children. All right. That went kind of largely under the radar, especially during when the legislation required the change in custody from INS to ORR. That only applied to unaccompanied children, not accompanied children. And my other point, on this, it's a huge propaganda war right now that the left is trying to wage on our nation. They're giving scripts for illegals. They're doing water points. They're doing food points. I'm sorry?
You nailed it.
And even welcome centers or welcome points for these illegals when they cross the borders. They tell them what to say, how to say it, and when to say it. And here's what's going to happen, and mark my words on this. Once the terrorists, if they haven't already got a hold of this information, they're going to start walking across that border more prevalent, and we're going to start seeing more and more and more terrorist attacks here in the United States because of how the left is taking charge in this situation. It's pathetic. It's a detriment to our national security. I think we should have built a wall 10 years ago, and I think it should have been a wall exactly like the DMZ or equivalent to it. Hell, build the frickin' China Wall for all I care. But the bottom line here is we now have created a situation, or we have allowed the left to create a situation that is going to be very, very dangerous for United States citizens that live on that border and folks that live in the metropolitan areas.
Well, yeah, it already is. If I had tons of money, I'd like to go down and make BZ reports from all the various sheriffs in the counties that are border counties and landowners, ranchers who have to live with this shit every day of their lives. And the elites in the Northeast, you aside, don't have to live with this at all. It's another separate planet entirely. And here's another thing. Pushing is coming to shove. I didn't even get to go into all the threats of violence that have been leveled against Barron Trump recently about people that disagree with leftists, etc. That's a story for another day. But I'm speaking on behalf of people like myself. Immaterial. Color, melanin count is completely immaterial, because the emperor, more and more people are beginning to realize, does in fact have no fucking clothes. And because of that, the Democrats, leftists, and the American media maggots, they don't know when to stop pushing. And they're going to continue to push to the point where people are pushed into a corner. They feel they have no other options. And I am fearful that there is a societal upheaval coming. I don't know in what fashion it's going to take, but it's not going to be pleasant, and almost no one is going to enjoy it. Do you have any words in summary? And also tell people where you can be found and where you can be heard. Big Sarge.
Sure. Words in summary, I guess if you want to call it a final thought or whatever, let's make no mistake about it that we're living in very dangerous times. And it's not going to get any better anytime soon. The left will continue to attack us. It doesn't matter. I said Trump could cure cancer tomorrow, and the left would find something to complain about. And that's going to be the prevalence of what the left and the agenda of the left is going to be all about for at least the next decade. So be careful if you live on the borders, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to tell you that right now, because it is a very volatile situation over there. We can be found on our website is www.noapologies101.com. Our Facebook page is facebook.com/noapologies101. Our Twitter is at NOAB_101, which is NOAB_101. And again, you can go to YouTube and subscribe as well. Just do a search for No Apolgies Broadcasting, and catch the Big Sarge Show, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every Saturday night.
Outstanding. Thank you ever so kindly for being here for the full 2 hours. Maybe I'm speaking out of school here, but you said, "Hey, I took the next day off." Well, wait a minute. Where you are now? Yeah, where you are now, it is the next day, as a matter of fact. So thank you.
I do it all for you.
Oh, Jesus, thank you ever so kindly. I really appreciate your time, folks. Thanks for being in chat. Big Sarge, we're going to have to do it again. You're going to have to invite me on your show, because you know me, I like to chat. And we're going to have you back. I know it's difficult for you to come back. I completely appreciate that. And that's why I so much value the time that you took tonight, because it is so damn late, and finally people can get some shut-eye. So, Big Sarge, thank you very, very much for being here tonight, sir. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome, BZ, and salutes to you, and salutes to SHR Media for having me on tonight. I really appreciate it, and thanks for everybody hanging with us.
Thank you. And folks, November, or your primaries, your locals, get out. Get out, get out, get out. Oh, yeah. Get out and vote.
Monsieur has been locked! We'll meet again.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Thanks for listening to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon right here in the SHR Media Network. If you want to contact me, you can find me on Twitter at BZEP, B-Z-E-P. On my blog at bloviatingzeppelin.net. Send me hate mail like other leftists do, bz at shrmedia.com. My original intro music is by Possessed Tranquility. You can find them at reverbnation.com. Promotional consideration by Lockheed Martin, Skunk Works, and the Boeing Company. If it ain't Boeing, I ain't going. And also by Pratt & Whitney Engines, Thrust, You Can Trust. Thanks also to my personal KC-135 Kettle One refueling team with whom I will be consorting in less than an hour. And thank you ever so kindly for listening live. Thanks to Big Sarge for being here tonight. Thank you for being involved in the chat room. Thanks for listening in podcast. Folks, have a great weekend. God bless. Take care. Be safe.
Everybody quiet down now and get some sleep.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Ben.
Good night, everyone. Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Good night, children.
Good night, Daddy. Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Jim Bob.
What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing?
Good night,
Good night, Jim Bob. Go to sleep.
Good night, and good luck.